Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Name One Player podcast. My name is Nicole. I am your host. And before we get into the episode, I just want to say a huge thank you to every single person for hitting play today. The Name One Player podcast is a place for women to talk about the sports teams that they love without ever being asked to name one player on those teams because that's just annoying. Okay, we're not going to do that. I might ask you to tell me a little story about a time that somebody did ask you to name one player, and then we can laugh about it and be like, oh, they were so silly. Why did they do that? But I'm not actually going to quiz you, I promise. There's no quizzing here. Just gals chatting about the teams that they love. And today, the team that we are talking about is the Toronto Blue Jays. You can tell I'm from Canada from the way I said Toronto. You don't pronounce it Toronto. The T at the end is silent, really. It pronounces an N. It's the Toronto Blue Jays. That was a long way of saying that we are talking about the Toronto Blue Jays today, and it's a bit of a bittersweet episode. It is sweet because the guest that we have today is one of my closest friends in the whole wide world, Taylor. She's the biggest Blue Jays fan that I know. I'm so excited to have her on today and talk all about the Blue Jays and their season and their incredible run in the postseason. However, it is bitter because we were talking about the fact that they did not win the World Series, unfortunately. It did go to Game 7, the best two words in sports, Game 7. And yeah, that's true. I actually don't disagree with that. I do think it's less fun when you are a very invested fan in the sport and the team that's playing Game 7, because then that means that somebody is definitely losing and your season's done. Well, everything's done, really. The whole season is done for everybody, but you've lost. And that's less fun. But, and I've said this multiple times and I'll say it again. I am not a huge baseball fan by any means. I have never disliked baseball. I've actually always really enjoyed baseball, especially going to baseball games. I think baseball games are so fun. And I have nothing against baseball. I just think I don't really follow along with it too closely in the summertime. The games are long. I've never really picked a team to really focus on. And I feel like that's where the connection for me comes in, is if I have an actual team to cheer for, then I'm a lot more engaged with whatever's going on. And I've never really watched postseason baseball. I do know that watching postseason baseball is often quite different than regular season baseball. So I would see the viral clips of really big plays that would happen, but never really followed the World Series. I actually don't know if I ever really sat down and ever watched any of the games in the World Series. I'm sure I had at some point, but I never made a point to do it. I never went to a bar with friends to watch the World Series or made sure that I was home in time to sit down and watch an entire game of the World Series. I definitely have never watched 18 innings of baseball like I did in, I don't even know, was that Game 3? Whichever one it was. That was crazy. That was a first for me. Never done that before. But all of that is to say that I fully acknowledge the fact that I am new to this and I have just thrown myself into it. But throw myself into it, I did. And I am 100% fully a committed Toronto Blue Jays fan. I loved watching them in their postseason run and watching them play the Dodgers in the World Series and just following along with what everybody was saying and learning about baseball. That's the biggest thing. And we'll talk to Taylor about this. I was texting her every game and being what just happened here? Why did they do this instead of this? Can you explain this part to me? And she was so helpful and so kind. There was not any point where she was Nicole, can you stop texting me? Which she wouldn't do that. Taylor's a very kind person, so I would never have expected her to do that. But I was asking a lot of questions and she was just so happy to help me and to help me learn. So Taylor, thank you. I really appreciate that. But the whole point of this conversation today is to talk about the Blue Jays and get Taylor's thoughts on how she's feeling today. Hear about what she thinks maybe could have gone differently during the playoffs, maybe what might have led to a Blue Jays win. We'll see what comes up. I don't know, but I am so excited to hear Taylor's perspective on her favorite baseball team. And now my favorite baseball team. They are my favorite baseball team. I would sometimes say that I would follow the Minnesota Twins just to kind of keep the Minnesota fandom alive, but no. We'll stick to the Blue Jays. We'll stick to my Canadian roots, which also too, if anybody knows me on a personal level, you do know that I don't really love Toronto. And honestly, I think that's why I held out cheering for the Blue Jays for so long, because I've had this like weird thing against Toronto. I've grown up. I've matured. I think Toronto's honestly a really great city. If you love sports, Toronto's probably the best city in Canada for you to live in. Vancouver's a close second for sure. We're getting up there with our new sports leagues that are starting, but they have everything within like walking distance. That's amazing. So props to the Toronto Blue Jays for finally making me support a Toronto team. Like I would fly to Toronto to watch the Blue Jays play, which if you asked me before, I would go out of my way to not go to Toronto. But now I want to go to Toronto. I don't know what this team has done to me. I mean, Taylor and I, I'm sure we'll get into it, but like the connection and the chemistry that this team had was nothing short of the word magic. But the magical thing, really, if we're really getting into the magic, is that like now I like Toronto. Crazy, I know. But yeah, let's get into it. Taylor is ready and waiting for us. All right, everyone, without further ado, please welcome Taylor. All right, everyone, we have Taylor here with us. Everybody listening, Taylor and I just spent like 5 minutes talking about how we're both super nervous. We talk every day. Maybe we don't really FaceTime all that often, actually.
No, but we talk every day.
I feel like this is so different, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay, Taylor, before we get into everything with the Blue Jays and the World Series loss, I want to ask you, how are you feeling today?
You know what? Obviously, last night I was so sad and it was very disappointing. But I feel like I've been seeing a lot of other people's reactions on Instagram and TikTok and whatever being so positive about like what a great run that I've kind of just like changed my feelings around it.
Okay, I really like that. And I actually wrote that down because I was seeing this on TikTok yesterday of like everybody really was so positive, but then the people who were negative, like I think I posted a little TikTok being like grateful for this team for making me a fan. And then somebody was like, there's a waste of a team. And I was like, that's like, I mean, I put myself in the shoes of them. I was like, if the Minnesota Vikings lost a Super Bowl, kind of with this extent of it, of like just being so close and like everybody wanting them to win or whatever,
Yeah.
I maybe would look at the negatives, but I'm like, I don't know. What I did want to ask you though, tell me, even though I know pretty well everything about you, and everybody else listening today, a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. I grew up being a baseball fan. I played softball my whole life. Started with like t-ball back in the day, and then played
Wait, I'm going
softball.
to interrupt you for a second. I wonder if we were on the same t-ball team, because we were on the same soccer team that we found out years later, and I wonder if we were on the same t-ball team.
You played t-ball?
I did play t-ball for the Coquitlam Minor League and they played in Glen Eyre. Was this the one you played at?
I remember playing at College Park.
Maybe no, it wasn't that. Maybe we played against each other.
Probably played against each other because I remember the pictures because it's like mostly boys, and then it was like me and like two other girls from College Park. So I feel like I would remember if it was you.
What I do remember, and it's a little bit traumatizing, is like obviously it's t-ball.
Yeah.
And then they move you to try to remove the tee.
Yeah.
And I couldn't hit the ball. They had to put the tee back for me. It was so embarrassing.
Yeah, but they do that. Like that happens to everyone. That's
No,
part
it
of the
doesn't.
process. You get like 3 pitches, and if you
Yeah.
don't hit it, then they put the tee up.
Did that happen to you too? Be honest.
I don't remember.
Okay, thank you for making me feel better. Okay, but you know what? Speaking about playing softball, I do remember being back in high school, and actually even now too, last summer. You are booked and busy in the summer times playing
I know.
softball.
I actually think about this like in high school because obviously I wasn't just playing softball. I was playing volleyball, I was playing softball, and I was doing cheer. And I was like, cheer, we would have 2 practices a week.
Yeah.
Volleyball would have 2 practices a week. Softball, I had 2 practices a week. And I'm like, not only how did I do that, but how did my parents like coordinate all of that?
Well, I do think what we need to give a special shout out. You did win like athlete of the year or volleyball player of the year. I know you definitely won an award. I don't know, but I know you got a little plaque.
Yeah,
Did you
I got
not?
a plaque.
Okay, so you said you've been a Blue Jays fan basically your whole life?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And special shout out to the Padres.
Yes.
Obviously you're a Blue Jays fan first, but where would you rank the Padres and why are you a Padres fan as well?
Padres are definitely my number 2 team. Growing up, every summer we would go to San Diego, and my family's just very sports oriented. So that was like an activity that we would do. We go to a Padres game every summer.
Okay, and do you remember like going to baseball games when you were younger?
Yeah. I remember going to lots. The only time I've seen the Blue Jays is was in San Diego.
Oh, no way. I was gonna ask, I feel like I didn't know of any stories of you actually going
Yeah.
in Toronto. Okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll have to go because now I'm a big Blue Jays fan,
I
so.
know. I know.
Have you seen them in Seattle?
No,
Okay, and we have said for years
I know.
that
I
we
see it
have to
every year.
go to a Mariners game, and we never have. I'm not sure if we'll get into this story. We'll get into the Blue Jays first. If we'll have time, we'll talk about the Padres game. But I've actually only been to 2 MLB games in my life, and one of them was a Padres-Dodgers game that I went with you. We went in San Diego. And then the other game that I went to was a Yankees game. I can't remember who they played. I don't know. But I
That's okay.
remember, again, I said this in my intro too, like baseball. I like baseball. I have nothing against baseball, but
Yeah.
I loved the Yankees game. It was so much fun. And I remember I got a Yankees hat, and then anytime I would wear it around you, you'd get a little bit upset.
Yeah. Were you rooting for the Yankees that game then?
Well, I was in New York, so yeah,
Well,
sure.
you were on the wrong side both times. Because when we went to the Padres game, you were rooting for the Dodgers, and that's so embarrassing.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about that. Okay, you know what? We'll get into the story now. We won't get into the nitty-gritty details. But Taylor and I, we went to San Diego one year together with our other friend, and we had a blast, really. It
So
was
much
a
fun.
great trip.
Yeah.
But I think we knew that we wanted to go to a Padres game. Like it was
Yeah.
like definitely on like we were not going to go.
Mhm.
But I just had a Dodgers hat laying around, and I was thinking about the reason I bought that hat. I was in Vegas and I was at Lids, and I bought a San Francisco Giants hat. I don't know why.
I
I
borrowed that hat. Do you remember when I went to
No,
San
why did you
Francisco?
borrow it?
Because I went to San Francisco and watched the Giants play.
Oh, I should have just given it to you.
And
Did I give you the
yeah,
hat?
I borrowed it.
Oh. Well, I gave away that hat, I gave away the Dodgers hat, and I gave away the 2 I actually had 2 Yankees hats, not just 1. But we go to this game, and I'm wearing this Dodgers hat that I have. Again, I'm not a fan of the Dodgers. If anything, I should have just cheered for the Padres. That would have been a lot easier. But that was a really great game. I do remember that.
Yeah, it was a walk-off. I don't know what the score was or anything, but I remember the
Uh,
Padres won, bottom of the 9th, walk-off, and it
I
was, like, so lit.
I remember also too, and that's what I feel like is the beauty of sports. 9 times out of 10, I guess it does really depend on where you're going and where you're watching, but, like, the group of people we were sitting by were great.
Mhm.
Everybody
Mhm.
was kind to me. I mean, thankfully, I was sitting beside you and Mel, who were both
Yeah,
wearing Padres stuff. But, yeah, really fun day, and
it was so fun.
yeah, it really was great, and we did say to each other in that moment, like, "Oh my god, we have to go to more Mariners games,"
Mhm.
but
Never
we
have.
never did. Maybe do the Mariners and the Dodgers play every year?
The Mariners and the Dodgers?
No, sorry, the Mariners and the Blue Jays.
I think, yeah.
Okay, well, maybe we'll go. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we dislike America at that time. Well,
I know, that's the tricky part. Is like and I don't know, when the Blue Jays go, I feel like the border is just crazy, and it just sounds chaotic to me.
okay, let's get into this World Series. And I don't even know, like, I'm not even sure if we should hone in on the actual World Series against the Dodgers or just the entire playoff run that the Blue Jays had because I didn't watch the first round. Wait, what was it? The first round against the Yankees?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I didn't watch that. I really got locked in when I saw Vladdy say the Yankees lose.
Yeah.
So seeing that, then I think I texted you the first game playing against the Mariners, and I was like, okay, I just want to know more about the sport. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to watch. I'm enjoying it. I remember telling you that I asked ChatGPT, and you're like, well, don't ask ChatGPT, ask me. And I did. I feel like I texted you multiple times during every game and asking just like, what the hell does this mean? I don't understand this. And you were so helpful. So I genuinely appreciate that. Thank you. You taught me a
Welcome.
lot. But tell me about your thoughts. Tell me what you were thinking. Let's go this entire playoff run for the Blue Jays. At the beginning of October, did you think that the Blue Jays were going to end up here against the Dodgers, Game 7, unfortunately losing? What were your thoughts at the beginning of it all?
I mean, when they first started that series against the Yankees, I was just like, we got to beat the Yankees because I'm just, I don't know, not a fan of the Yankees. So honestly, never was thinking, oh, we're making it to the World Series. We're going to win. Like, it was one series at a time, really. One game at a time
Yeah.
because all of the series were quite close. Like, it wasn't like we were sweeping anyone.
Yeah.
Like, they were all very close series. So yeah, it was definitely game by game, in my opinion.
As a fan, as somebody who's loved the Blue Jays forever, did you enjoy that it was close series every time, or would you have appreciated a sweep at any
Mm,
point?
I would have loved a sweep just for the stress of it all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
of course, like, I don't know, close games, that is what makes it exciting. Like, no one wants to watch a one-run game that, I don't know, it's exciting. And I feel like the Blue Jays have been really exciting over the last the whole playoff run,
Mhm.
because they are these intense games, whether it's close or whether it's high scoring
Mhm.
game. So I don't know. Of course, to answer your question, of course, it would have been nice for a sweep, but it does make it a little more exciting.
Well, okay, I like what you said there just about how like these games were really so intense. And again, I've said this a million times. Like I did not follow along very closely with baseball in my whole life, really.
Yeah.
But what I have known is that the Blue Jays just were not ever really a good team. I mean, I know the last time they made the World Series, they did win, but it was 32 years ago before either
Yeah.
of us were born. So, when did the Blue Jays shift from being this team that kind of typical Toronto sports team that's just like not good, breaks your heart every time, to, I mean, they did break everybody's heart, but to playing in the World Series? Like when did this shift occur?
I mean, for me, it shifted like as it was happening. Like,
Okay.
there wasn't a moment during the season that I was like, okay, it's happening this year. No, that didn't happen for me.
Okay,
I don't
and
know.
then with the Dodgers, though, I mean, I don't know how many Dodgers games you really were watching out of the, what, 162, which is also freaking nuts. Wait, okay, random question. How many of the 162 games do you watch of the Blue Jays, would you say?
Not 162. Not even, I don't know. Like, if I'm at my parents' house, like, it will be on and
Yeah.
we'll, like, have dinner and, like, chat, and the Blue Jays will be on. And then same, like, I'll come home from work and Luke will be watching it either on his laptop or, like, it'll be on the TV, just, like, in the background
Okay.
kind of thing. But no, I absolutely am not someone that watches every single game, every
Okay.
single series.
But what I was gonna ask you is, I know you were saying that you and really everybody did not expect watching any Blue Jays games that this
Mhm.
was a team that was going to make it to Game 7 of the World Series. But speaking of the Dodgers, and I know very little about them, but what I've been hearing is that people did think that the Dodgers would be making it
Mhm.
to the World Series, and not even necessarily Game 7, but winning the World Series again. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm a Blue Jays fan, but I'm also a underdog supporter.
Okay.
So, like, for me, I don't know. I would have probably been rooting against LA no matter who was against them. Maybe the Yankees, I don't know. But that's another thing, though, that I was thinking about this morning. I was like, okay, but the Blue Jays were so close to winning last night.
Mhm.
So close. And they did that with $100 million less than the Dodgers did.
Yeah. I mean,
And
that's a win in itself. Like,
absolutely.
the fact that they didn't win, and you were over at my house with our other friend Mackenzie. She better be listening to this episode, so hello, Mackenzie. But I didn't realize that there was no salary cap in baseball, and then
Mhm,
just hearing about, like, obviously LA is gonna have a shit ton of money to play around
mhm.
with, and it's like, where is I mean, I did actually kind of look a little bit into the debate of salary caps and baseball and all of that, and kind of hearing the side of it that players don't want it. Is that a real thing?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah,
But I
I don't know
mean,
either.
also,
I mean,
I
yeah,
feel
the
like
players getting paid
some
$1 billion.
players wouldn't want it.
Yeah.
But also, I guess it is kind of interesting because, like, the logistics of it, I don't know, that probably would just look so different for a manager and whoever's
Yeah.
making decisions, you know? Like, you can have one person, but you can't have someone else.
Yeah, well, that's why I mean, talking about our F1 fantasy teams, like,
Mhm,
that's part of it, and, like, football and everything like that is you have to look at the salary cap, and
mhm.
you need to get rid of players because of they wanna get paid a certain amount and you don't wanna pay them or whatever it may be, bunch of stuff like that, but it makes things interesting, and, yeah, when you just I mean, it just speaks to capitalism when you just
Yeah.
have all the money and for no real good reason, I guess to win 2 World Series back to back, I guess that's a good enough reason, but, like,
Yeah.
ew, I don't know. But I do think that's a really good point. It's like, you said they had $100 million less,
I don't know the, like, exact, but I saw it and it was roughly $100 million difference.
and they held the Dodgers to 7 games. They won by 1 run in, what, the 14th inning?
No, I
I
think it
don't know.
was, like, the 11th.
Okay, maybe. I just remember 4.
I was not even looking at the I was in a different world.
Okay, that's a good point though, and I do think it speaks to what you were saying at the beginning of, like, you can either look at it with this positive lens of they did that, like, yeah, they didn't
Mhm.
win, it really sucks. Definitely would have been, I think, a different feel to everything if they had won, especially winning at home too, and I know you said you
Yeah,
turned it off, but I personally thought it was hilarious that the Dodgers are, like, celebrating, everybody's booing them, and
yeah,
then just, like, everybody files out, like, nobody wants to be there, nobody wants to see it, and they're just, like, celebrating on the field with n either nobody there or people booing them, I thought, which
yeah.
booing is never nice, but I feel like in that situation, it was, like, a little bit funny, but my next question for you, though, and you pick, do we wanna do the negatives or the positives first?
Let's do negatives.
Okay. Why do you think the Blue Jays lost that World Series?
You know what? Baseball is just tough because there's so many little things that happen that could change the whole game.
Hmm.
Like, there was a couple frustrating plays that runners just got called out. Not, like, the umpire's fault, but I'm saying, like, how the game ended on Friday night, how, like, Hernandez made the double play and Barger got called out at second, and it's just, like, so frustrating because it's a tough play, obviously, but, like, you shouldn't be getting doubled up like that. So there was definitely little things like that, but also, I don't know, baseball is just tough because it's like that ball could have been hit 1 meter either way and it's game over, and so hard to say.
Okay, no, I think that makes sense. And honestly, that's kind of why I really enjoyed watching and why I did have a little bit of a moment where I'm like, but to be fair, I did watch football all this morning and I do not think baseball's better than football. I had a moment there yesterday when I was like, I think baseball might be better than football. I don't think that. But what I was sitting there and thinking that it's like there really are so many different variables, I guess, at play.
Uh-huh.
And of
Mhm.
course, obviously it's like based on skill and all that good stuff. I really liked while I was watching and while I was learning that there really is this aspect of like it's so unexpected, and of course there is the element of like talent, and these are the 2 best teams in baseball. There's things that are going to go right, things that are going to go wrong, whatever, but at the
Mhm.
same time, like, a lot of that you can't predict and it's just gonna happen, and I guess it's just a matter of, like, how you adapt to it, but then it's like it happens in the 9th inning or in extra innings, and it's like you
Mhm.
can't like, it has happened. But with that being said, now let's do the positive. What do you think went well? Like, what was the recipe that brought the Blue Jays to this success? I mean, ultimately, again, they did lose,
Mhm.
But I would still consider it a success
It's still a
getting to
win.
Game 7 of the World Series against the Dodgers. What would you say was working for this team?
Yeah, I feel like the whole team were, getting the runs, doing the work. It wasn't just Vladdy and Bichette or Vladdy and Springer like getting those home runs. It was Barger showing up and getting grand slams and making unreal plays in right field, even though he traditionally doesn't play right field.
Yeah.
Ernie just beat a record for the most hits in postseason in MLB history, which is like amazing. And he was batting, I think he was like 7 or 8 in the batting order for the last couple games. Those are the batters that you're not really expecting to put up those numbers and put together those hits. So I think it's just that everyone was showing up and, getting it
W-
done.
Were they showing up during the season, like the regular season, or not really?
Yeah, I feel
Okay.
like that's just been something consistent throughout the season that kind of made this team what it was. And I feel like it also kind of helped with the community of the team because
Yeah.
the team is like just so cute and sweet. And you can tell they're just like boys hanging
Yeah.
out playing baseball. And it's just really cute. But I feel like it contributed to that because,
Yeah.
well, yeah, like this guy's doing this guy's doing this. You're like, have that celebration for your
Yeah.
teammates, and it creates this different bond.
Yeah, I don't know because I didn't see like an actual video of the words coming out of his mouth. I just saw like a clip or like a GIF or whatever, a GIF.
Mhm.
That do people still argue about that if it's a GIF or a GIF? But
I don't know.
um, I know what do you think it is?
A GIF. I would
Okay.
say a GIF.
Me too, me too. Apparently it is, like, legitimately GIF though, but whatever, anyways, that's besides the point. But it was of Ernie saying, like, "Oh, we have the power of friendship." Did he actually say that?
I didn't see the clip, but
Okay, maybe I'll try to find it because it could have been somebody just saying that, but it really did seem that way, and like what you were saying
Mhm.
too, like, they really just did seem maybe because we're getting older and
Mhm.
the team is like, a lot of these players are a lot younger than we are,
Yep.
but, like, they really did just seem like little kids just out there
Mhm.
playing baseball and, like, doing what they loved, and I feel like and again, I say this with complete bias because I did not watch any of the other teams
Yeah.
during the postseason of the MLB this year, but, like, it really did seem like, at least watching the Mariners and watching the Dodgers, they didn't have that same, like, I don't even know happy-go-lucky is the right word, but, like and chill necessarily isn't the right word either because, like, they did seem very I don't know, I'm not coming up with the right words here, but, like, it seemed like they were just there having fun, but
Yeah.
also with, like, literally every single thing riding on it and, like, their dreams riding on this. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I heard Shane Bieber, which he's my favorite player, he said that, like, they just need to be themselves, and a
Mhm.
couple of players were saying that. Like, it really did seem like they were just all being themselves, and like you said, like, it was a collective effort and not just a couple of superstars. I was gonna say winning it all because they didn't win it all, but
Yeah.
getting
But
real
no.
dang close. My next question for you then, and because I know nothing about, like, how trades work and, like, how the off season and obviously now too, like, talking about salary cap, like, that's a whole different
Mhm.
ball game, I guess, literally. What are your thoughts? Like, have you seen anything? Do you think there's gonna be a lot of changes to this team, or do you think this connection and kinda, like, close-knit bond that they really seem to have formed this season, do you think that's going to stick around for next season? We'll see a lot of the same players.
I honestly don't really follow the trades and all of the off season. I don't know. To me, like I'm a Blue Jays fan. It doesn't really matter who's going and who's coming. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong. If Ernie Clement got traded, I'd be so sad because I love him.
Okay. How long
Um,
has he been on the Blue Jays for?
I don't even know, to be honest. Not long.
Not that long? Okay.
Not that long.
I think I like Ernie Clement too. Oh my
All the
god.
girls love him. I'm like, oh my
Look
gosh,
at him.
these little like thirst trap videos of Ernie Clement. I'm like, this is crazy.
I actually almost sent you one. And then I clicked on the person's profile, like, she was, like, 12 years old, so
Oh god.
it's like, okay,
I feel like it's
she was an edits account, so I was like, "Okay, well, good for her."
I feel like it's funny because Ernie, like, don't get me wrong, he's attractive, but, like, I feel like he's also just, like, seems like a goofy, like, sweet boy. So, like, the thirsty videos are just like, I don't know, they just, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
not like he's some baseball guy that like comes up to the plate, has all this, like, he's like, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, did you see that video of, his, like, elementary school?
No.
Oh my god, it was so cute. His, like, grade 1 teacher or something
Oh.
is, like, still teaching there, and then she got the whole class to be like, "Good luck, Ernie," and I guess he grew up in New York because then the principal of the school was, like, talking and was like, "I'll take off my Yankees cap for you," and then there was, like, just a little picture of him in grade 1, and then he
That's so cute.
commented on it, and it like, seeing that, like you said, it just made me think, like, these are just little
Oh,
kids, like,
kid.
living out their dream.
I hope one of my kiddos make it famous and they're like, shout me out. My grade 3 teacher.
That's a good point. You need to start getting an eye if they have star potential.
I know. Watching them.
So, all of Canada has seemed to hop on board with supporting the Blue Jays, and I
Mhm.
feel like I haven't seen that really in a long time. I think about when the, Toronto Raptors were in the NBA championships and they
Yeah.
won. That was, like, what, 2018, 19 or something? But I
Yeah.
still feel like it wasn't on the level that this was. This just seemed so unique. I've never seen anything like this. Have you ever seen any support like this for the Blue Jays?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just because I'm older too. I don't know. And like the structure of life these days with like TikTok and Instagram and, it's like everything that you're seeing. But I also just think it's a unique situation. Like, yeah, basketball is the same, I guess, that it's all American teams and then
Mhm.
there's one Canadian team. And then on top of that, things have been obviously a little
Yeah.
polarizing with
Mhm.
America and Canada. So I don't know if that played a part in it, just like the upsweep in Canadian nationalism,
Yeah, I know. I was
patriotism.
gonna say, like, patriotism, but I'm like, is that
I
the right
know.
word? I don't know.
But it is true. Like there is that connection of Canada and America. I don't know.
Mhm.
Even though like all the players are American, but
I completely agree. There was an element of they are the only Canadian team
Mhm.
in the MLB, same as the Raptors being the only Canadian team in the NBA. But I do think with everything going on politically between Canada and the United States right
Mhm.
now, there is just that like added pride of being Canadian and supporting a Canadian team. But I did see a lot of those comments of people being like, I think there's only like 3 Canadians on the team. But you know what? I feel like maybe, but also this is probably a percentage wise thing of like how many people actually make it to the
Mhm.
MLB. But it's like, I feel like seeing the Canadian team go so far probably is going to ignite a fire in a bunch of these other little boys across
Yeah.
Canada, girls too. Who knows what's going to
Yeah.
happen one of these days. Yeah, we shouldn't exclude the future generations of
Mhm.
MLB players. Who knows? Who knows? But my question for you was what do you think about all of these new fans coming in? And I know we kind of talked a little bit about bandwagon fans. I had posted a TikTok on it and you commented on it, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts are of the entire country now supporting a team that you've supported your entire life and you've watched this team not do as well as they've done now pretty well your
Mhm.
entire life, and now you have somebody like me
Mhm.
walks in and I just now see the Blue Jays get to game 7 of the World Series. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like it's been really fun because I do just like genuinely love baseball. I think it's a great sport and it's been fun to talk to people about it. I know you mentioned earlier about how I've been like helping you learn the rules a bit and like what's going on, kind of understanding the game better is really fun. I like enjoy that part because I feel like growing up that was like a lot of me and my dad's relationship was like talking about plays and like what should you do in this situation, and like my dad is very mentally smart in regards to the game of baseball or softball.
Yeah.
They're obviously very similar, so it's just like something that I enjoy to talk about, so it's been fun and it's just been kind of cool to see like everyone watching the game and the amount of people that have been texting me just like about the game. I had one of my like softball girlfriends from like high school like send it to our group chat, and it's just like sweet. She's like, I didn't know how to message, but it's just nice to have those conversations. I don't know. I feel like sports is all about like connection and bonding and sharing special moments together. So like, why the hell not? Everyone should join in and we should all just hang out and watch baseball.
Amen. Amen. And two things to that. I love how every game our group chat was popping off, just
Yeah.
talking during the game. And I completely agree. I was actually thinking those exact words before you said them. So like we got some telepathy going about like sports really are about connection. And it has been so nice to see people connecting in this way. And again, like we talk every day, but I don't know that we've ever, like, we talk about sports here and there, but like the fact that we were able to just connect on a different front has been really fun. And again, too, like I thank you. You taught me a lot. You taught me more than ChatGPT did. Actually, I've been really freaking mad at ChatGPT lately. This
I
is
know,
a
it sucks.
disclaimer to everybody. We should stop using it because it's just like wrong a
Yeah.
lot of the time. It's plain wrong. And I was like, I asked it a question and then it straight up told me that the Blue Jays are not playing in the World Series. I was like, this is a conspiracy really owned by some like LA billionaire.
Probably.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about this too. And I think this is a really cool dynamic that you have with your boyfriend, Luke. Shout out Luke. And he's from New Zealand. So did he like baseball before coming here?
No.
No. Okay,
No.
but he's like obsessed with it now, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
He's
so
definitely followed them more than I've followed them this year.
yeah, well, when we were watching I guess, what was it, game 1 of the World Series, like,
Yeah.
Luke's in my ear, he's telling me all this stuff, and I'm like, "Wow, Luke, like, this is really helpful information, like,
Yeah.
thank you." How did that happen? How did you kinda get him on board with watching baseball and getting him to follow along with the Blue Jays?
Yeah, like I said, if you go to my parents' house any night, there'll be some sport on. Hockey, football, baseball, whatever. But like baseball is always on. I guess because baseball is always on.
Yeah.
But like Sundays, obviously, like, Chargers are on if they're playing. But baseball is just always on when we would go over there. And like Luke is on the shyer side. Obviously, he wanted to connect and get to know my parents and have something to talk to them about. I feel like it was like a couple times we'd go over and then he was like, damn, I think I need to get into baseball just to be able to like talk to my parents.
That's hilarious. I love that. I didn't know that. That's so funny.
Yeah, because my dad will, if you came to my house, he would be like, oh, like, did you see that play? Like, this is what just happened. And Luke would just be like, yeah. Like, he didn't know how to respond. He really like did a lot of it by himself, but we would also watch games together and like he really wanted to learn. Also, like I play softball and he would come to most of my games, and often my mom would also be there and she would like scorekeep. So her and Luke would like sit together and like she would explain a lot of what was happening, and like just watching so many games, like it's not fun to watch when you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He just like really committed to getting into it, and now he's really into it.
I love that. I think it just also speaks to what you just said about sports really do, I don't know, inspire is a word I want to use, but really, yeah, sure, we'll use that. They inspire connection. And I could imagine Luke coming from New Zealand and meeting your dad in particular and being like, okay,
Yeah.
let me learn about baseball. So we have a little bit of common ground here, starting it that way. I love that. Okay, really cool. So Taylor, I ask everybody this question, and you did tell me the story, and I think this is an absolutely hilarious name one player type of vibe of a story. So do you have any favorite times that I always say a man, like blanket statement, but maybe it was a woman, who knows?
Yeah.
Has ever asked you to name one player on a sports team that you like, or prove your knowledge, whether it be the Blue Jays or really any other team that you like to follow along with?
Yeah. There's one specific story that always comes to mind when I think about this. And it was so long ago. It was like, I think I was 18. So it was like 10 years ago. But I was at Squamish Music Festival.
Which
Also-
doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, such a throwback. And it was like one of those festivals that you like camp at. So we were, getting ready for the day, whatever. And our campsite people beside us were also out. And this one guy was wearing a caribou hat. Also, I don't even know if these are a thing anymore, but like back in the day, if you bought like a 24 pack of caribou, which is also just not the best beer, you would get merch. And there was like these caribou hats that I really wanted one.
They're like the bucket hat, right?
No,
I'm
like a
thinking of a different
trucker
hat
hat.
then. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like orange and then camo.
Yes.
Yeah. And this guy had one, and I was 18 and confident, and I was like, "Can I have your hat?" And he was like, "No." Like, "What?" I'm like, "Okay, fine, whatever." We end up talking, football comes up, and at this time, I was properly following the Chargers. Like, I was into it. I knew all the players, and we were talking about it, and I can't fully remember if he was straight up like, "Name one player," or if he just truly did not believe that I, like, actually followed football. Oh, no, I think what happened was he literally was like, "If you name 10 players or something, I'll give you my hat." And I was like, "Bet. I got you." And I named the players, and he gave me the hat, and I still have it to this day. So shout out that guy.
I'm just looking in my photos because I have you like as a designated person because we have a lot of photos together, and I'm just seeing like I'm sure if I click your name, a picture of you in this hat will come up.
Oh, girl, I'll do one better.
Oh.
Hold up. I got
I was
you.
gonna say, because you know what? I'm not seeing it here. Yeah, show us the hat in question, please. Wow. Nice. I mean, that's worth naming 10 players for sure.
Yeah.
10?
I
That's
mean,
kind of a lot, though.
I don't know if I don't even remember, but I would literally remember, like, naming half the team.
As you should. To be fair, you actually, like, got something out of it, because I was gonna say, "As you should," but then I'm like, "But should we?" But you got a hat. Like, this wasn't
Yeah.
just, like, an ego thing. There was, I was gonna say monetary.
There
I
was
guess, like yeah, an exchange of
of my knowledge for this.
and you wear that hat a lot. You do
I
wear
actually
that
love
hat a
this
lot.
hat. Brings back memories too.
Yeah, well, I think I've heard the story every time I see the hat, and I always
Yeah.
forget about the story too. And then you tell me the story, and I remember it. And even before we hit record, and I asked you what your story was going to be, I forgot about the story. And then you told me, and I was like, absolutely, you definitely have to share that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what he's up to.
I know. He actually was quite nice.
Was he a Chargers fan or no?
You know what? I find a lot of people aren't necessarily Chargers fans, but they like the Chargers.
This was 10 years ago, so were they still in San Diego?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I have told this story on this podcast before too, that technically I have a San Diego Chargers tattoo. Technically.
Kind of.
Before I got a Vikings tattoo, I guess I got well, no, because they weren't in San Diego when we went to San Diego.
Were they not?
No, they had just moved to
Oh.
LA and it was a big deal.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
sad. Very
Yeah.
sad times.
Well, that's nice that you still stuck with them.
Yeah, I'm loyal. I'm a loyal girl.
Okay, Taylor, thank you so much. I'm so glad that we got you on today to talk about the Blue Jays, and maybe we'll have you on next year to talk about a win of the World
Let's
Series.
go.
You never know. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel. I feel like you can't have a season like the season. Well, actually, again, I don't really know anything about the season that they had, but like the playoff run, like the playoff
Yeah.
run that you had, and then not do some really cool things the upcoming season. So
Yeah.
we'll see. All right, Taylor, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to Taylor for coming on and chatting about her thoughts on the Blue Jays and their unfortunate loss of the World Series. But I think we can spin it. I'm feeling positive after talking to Taylor. Her positivity has rubbed off on me. So, yeah, they lost the World Series. But look at what they won along the way. They may have lost Game 7 and the World Series title, but you know what? They won it in my heart and Taylor's and Canada's and probably every other state but California. Maybe New York and Washington. Maybe they were rooting for the Dodgers too. I don't know. But yeah, great conversation, Taylor. Thank you again for coming on. I totally agree with what she said, though, about how sports really does, I said inspire, but that's not the word, foster. Sports fosters connection. It really is so true. When I think about the reasons that I love sports, the connection aspect and the community aspect really is a major part of it. And it was really cool to be new to watching baseball, but to have that connection and community piece with my friends, my family, people online. It was really fun. And I'm very grateful for this season. Thank you to everybody who brought me in with open arms. I am now a Blue Jays fan for life. I'll commit to it. Why not? Why not? I don't think I'm on the level that like I'll get a Blue Jays tattoo ever. That's reserved for the Vikings and I guess the Chargers only. But yeah, thank you again, Taylor. I had a blast. You are welcome on anytime, but would be really cool if we could do an episode next year when the Blue Jays actually do win the World Series. Let's manifest that, okay? Everybody manifest that. I am going to get out of here. I'm all done talking, but actually, I'm not done talking. Before I go, what I do want to say is one last thank you to every single person for tuning in today. It means the absolute world to me, and I hope you loved the episode. I had a blast putting it out, and I hope you had a blast listening to me and Taylor chat for a little bit. If you did like the episode, I would love it if you could engage in whatever way you would like to. If you could like the Name One Player podcast, follow the show, rate the show. Depending on the platform that you're listening on, it might give you the option to comment on the episode, so I'd love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, that's really it for me. It is a Sunday. It's Sunday by the time I'm recording this. It will be Thursday by the time this episode is out. So I don't know what day it is by the time you're listening. It could be any of the days of the week. Whatever day it is, I hope you've had an awesome day. And I hope you've had an awesome week. And I hope you have a lovely week coming up. All right, everyone. Take care. Bye.